Hey there, Brett back. Took me a little bit longer than I was intending, do apologise for that, but finally got another video out. And in the last video I discussed about how I was planning to use the Ashigaru for multiple different clans and how I was going to go about solving the problem of not needing to paint hundreds and hundreds of units in order to play any battle that I would want in the Sengoku Jedi era. So let's jump over to the table and I will show you how I've solved this problem. My plan for these units is going to be to use magnets to allow me to swap the banner bearers out as and when I need to. That way, if I want to change them up and play something different, I definitely can. I only need to paint a new banner guy rather than needing to paint an entire unit. To make my units as customizable as possible really does begin before I even start the painting process. I'm getting my bases here and just drilling a small 2mm dent into them so that it can fit the magnet in. This doesn't need to go all the way through, and it's best really to check as you're going. Idea is to drill through just deep enough so that the magnet will sit flush with the rest of the base, but it won't sink in too far because you do want to have contact with those magnets in order to make sure you've got the strongest connection possible. This might take a few tries to do, that's perfectly fine. Just take it slowly, make small adjustments at a time. Once you're happy with it, then you just need a small amount of glue on the magnet and lock these in place. At this point, it is worth noting that it is really useful to be careful to make sure that you're putting the magnets in the same direction. I would recommend doing that by just testing with some spare magnets, making sure that they're all connecting to all of your different bases so that you know that all the polarities of the north and the south are going in the same direction. Plus, it can be kind of fun to do this testing anyway as well. Then I'll repeat this process for the standard bearers themselves, making sure that the magnets are in the right direction again, making sure to test constantly all the time. And I do this by putting the magnets in and checking them before I even think about gluing them in place. If you've bought models, such as Pendragon ones, then they do likely come with small stands on the feet, so you can use this to drill through. But if, like me, you've gone the route of getting 3D prints, then this can be even easier. I just added in a small 2mm hole into the 3D models before even printing them out. That way it would exactly fit the magnets. Now, because of warping here, you do need to maybe do a little bit of sanding with just, rolled up bit of sandpaper, but nothing too major. So with everything prepped, I loaded a load of my banner bearers onto a painting stick and got them painted up. I won't go into too much detail in this video about how I did that for you. If that is something that's of interest to you, then do feel free to go check out my last video. Maybe do it after you've watched this one and you can get a good idea of how I painted them. But needless to say, it is my simple method of 2-colour zenithal highlight, this time with a yellow for the Order clan Ashigaru, and then just painting in the armour, the skin and the wood before finishing off with an all-over brown wash. One tip on these that is new though is that I would recommend that you be careful at this part with the banners specifically. They're a large flat area and they're definitely going to be prone to coffee staining and pooling of those washes. Best way that I've found to avoid that is to simply, once you've put the wash on, but before it dries, wipe away the wash on your brush, dry it off a little bit so it's damp but not completely bone dry, and then just wick away the excess, making sure not to go too close to the recesses so you still get that effect, but the yellow on the banner itself stays a little bit brighter. And there we go, with the models painted up, I'm going to do a quick test. Again, not strictly necessary, we've done plenty of checking and I'm confident that the magnets are in the right direction, but again, it's just really fun to watch them snap into place. We do need to think about the basing a little bit, so to do that I'm putting one of the guys onto the base and I'm going to paint a darker brown area around it. I choose brown because the bases themselves are an earth colour, and while I need it to be darker so that I can see where that line is, I want to make sure that it won't stand out too much if some basing material was to come away. Then it's a case of going through my usual basing process using the Geek Gaming Scenics small base ready range and putting the PVA on basically everywhere except for inside of that small circle that we've marked out in the last step. And then on the standard bearer models, going in and just painting some glue onto their bases, getting this all dunked into the mix and cleared away. You may find that some stuff does shift and does go inside that circle. Just get like a small toothpick or a brush that you don't care about getting glue on or something like that, move those out of the way. And what will happen is once you do put the guys on with the standard bearers, then you will find that they hide the seams quite nicely and everything kind of meshes together. And there we go, that's how I've chosen to make these units as flexible as I possibly can. Now, of course, there are probably myriad of other ways that you could handle this, and so if you have any ideas of what you would do different, do feel free to let me know down below in the comments. While you're there, consider hitting the like and the subscribe button and all of that YouTuber stuff. It does actually help me out and would be massively appreciated. But otherwise, I thank you for coming and checking out the video anyway. I've been Brett, hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you next time here at Tabletop Sagas.